Good evening there, and welcome to our latest Elite FPL podcast previewing blank Game Week 31. And as ever, I'm joined by my comrades, Steve-O and Jason. How are we tonight, chaps, as I always say?
Good evening, Dan. Good evening, Jason. Good evening, everybody in chat.
Hello. Good, thank you.
Good. So, yeah, if you've joined us in chat, please do say hello. Let us know how your team is prepared for blank Game Week 31, which has been on everyone's minds for the last 30 game weeks, it seems, by the amount of conversation online. So, yeah, of course, we're going to be predicting Game Week 31, the fixtures ahead, making our predictions of the scores, also looking at our own teams, having a little think about what transfers we're going to make, how many players we're going to field in this game week, and just generally hearing what you guys have got to say in the chat and answering any questions you've got. So, Steve, if you want to take us through the fixtures for this much anticipated game week.
Yeah, so as per normal, we will be predicting what myself, Dan and Jason think the scores will be. We hope that will be a helping guideline to what you're thinking into doing with the captaincy, Salah. So I'm just so glad that I don't have to mention his name. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I do, because it's blank Game Week 31 and there's no one else to talk about other than will Salah score 100 goals or not. But in all seriousness, if no one is aware, myself and Dan did a draft blank Game Week 31 a team selection for our podcast team, but there was a few different rules in there in the sense of anybody that finished from 6th downwards last season. So in other words, Arsenal downwards, we could only pick those players. So our team ended up with how it did. If you want to watch that podcast, by all means, do so. But yeah, we'll just crack on with this because this is going to be nice, short and sweet. And the first upcoming game is Bournemouth versus Newcastle. Everybody seems to think Wilson's going to get a hat-trick. Fraser's going to get a hat-trick. It ain't going to happen. I do think Bournemouth are going to win, but it's going to be bloody tight. I think this is going to be a really tight game. And I'm going to go with 2-1 to Bournemouth. I was thinking 1-1, but I think Bournemouth might just edge this with Newcastle's poor defensive lineup at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, great win for Newcastle last weekend. Bournemouth back to winning ways away to Huddersfield. Mentioned Fraser a few times, but he's done well, and Wilson looks to be sharp once again. So I reckon this could be one of the most entertaining Premier League games of the weekend. I'm going to go for 2-2.
2-2. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be
the most entertaining game of this game week.
I think there's goals in it, but I don't know about the most entertaining. I think the game further down the list is going to be a bit more entertaining. Second most entertaining game of the game week. I think it's going to be 2-1 to Bournemouth.
2-1 to Bournemouth, agree with me. There was actually a 2-2 last season. Actually, it was in February last year. And it ended 2-2, Dan. So history may repeat itself. The last time these two met ended 2-1 to Newcastle this season. So now on to my team, Burnley, up against Leicester. Again, everybody seems to think Jamie Vardy or Maddison or Harvey Barnes are going to get a hat-trick. Again, I do think Leicester will come out on top on this. I'm just looking at the last 6 fixtures between these two teams. Not many goals scored in this game at all. In fact, there's been 3 1-0s. It ended 0-0 this season. And in 2016, Leicester beat us 3-0, but that was at their ground. So, yeah, I think Leicester will, again, I think it's going to be like the Bournemouth game. I think it's going to be tight. I think Leicester are just going to edge this, and I'm going to go 2-1 again, Dan. But to Leicester.
Yeah. It was a tight game at the King Power Stadium earlier in the season. I am going to be trebling up on Leicester players. So I'm hoping for a clean sheet, but I'm not expecting a clean sheet. I'm going to go for a tight 1-1 draw.
Oh, I'll bloody take that.
I think Leicester are going to win this game, and I think it's going to be 2 goals. They're going to win by 2-goal margin. I think it's going to be. I really want Leicester to keep a clean sheet. I really do. But Burnley are on scoring form. I think it's going to be 3-1 to Leicester. And the guys in chat are quite active already. We've got Brett Mollison, got Clement LaRue, got Sultan Saeed. Welcome everybody. Got Jack Gleason's in chat. Welcome Jack. He's apparently is in Sri Lanka. He says hello from Sri Lanka. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why we've not seen him the last few days. But hey Jack, I hope it's nice and hot and you're having a good time over in Sri Lanka. Whatever you're doing over there, I hope it's good. So yeah, Steve, what do you think about your team Burnley at home to Leicester?
Well, you must have been deaf because I've just told you that.
Well,
it's gonna be.
What did you say?
I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be. I just think. Yeah, I'm not going to repeat myself. I just think it's going to be a really tight game, and I think it's going to end up 2-1 to Leicester. But on to a game that I don't think that will be tight. It's West Ham versus Huddersfield, and I actually do think that West Ham will keep a clean sheet. I'm going to go with 3-0, and me and Dan picked. And that reminds me, Dan, actually. So me and Dan were actually debating on our draft team about whether to choose Arnautovic or not, because no one knew whether he would start or not. But he's actually pretty much been told that he's going to start. So Dan, I was thinking maybe getting rid of Ashley Barnes for Arnautovic. What do you think on that move?
Yeah, definitely do that. I didn't realise he was.
Can you move your camera down a little bit, Steve-O?
Down?
Just so you can see your
showing
head.
A bit leg.
No, sorry, up. Sorry. The top of your head was cut. There we go. We could only see like your nose.
You have the basic instinct moment there, aren't you?
So Dan, you reckon Trevor? Well, it'll be a double up on Felipe Anderson and Arnautovic, but we've got treble in total West Ham aside. So you reckon get rid of Barnes and bring in Arnautovic?
Yeah, the big boys in, mate. Yeah.
Brilliant. I'll do that once we finish this podcast. But over to you, Dan. What do you think on this game, West Ham versus Huddersfield?
Look, I just hope Anderson does something. I've had him for what feels like an eternity now, and this is a great fixture. Huddersfield are putting up a good fight. No one's not saying they're not putting up a good fight, but looks like they're going down. Well, pretty much certain they're going down. West Ham, I'm going to go 2-0, and I'm very tempted tonight to make a transfer to bring in a budget West Ham defender. So I'm very tempted because I've got some players in my defence I might want to get rid of, but we'll get onto that later, as we always say. Yeah, 2-0.
And Jason?
1-0 West Ham.
Goal scorer?
Yes.
Declan Rice.
Declan Rice.
The Irish English.
Dan, we're going to bring in. Right then. So before I get onto Sunday's games, onto the big meet, is there any thoughts in the chat room, Jason, regarding these first 3 fixtures that we've discussed? Any thought processes going?
FPL Boone is in the chat saying hello. We've got Brett Mollison saying West Ham 4-1. Jack Gleason's letting us know that he's on a free hit. Wow. That's going to be interesting to see what team he picks. Sultan Saeed saying 2-0 to West Ham. Jack Gleason saying he's got Arnautovic in his squad on his free hit. So there you go. Brett Mollison saying, come on, Arnautovic's been killing me on the bench. Yeah, he's been very disappointing as of late for the owners. I'm surprised so many people kept him through the amount of times he's been reduced minutes. I'm in the same boat as you, Dan. Says Sultan Saeed didn't own Anderson early in the season, so I brought him in and a few weeks ago, and he's done nothing since. FPL Boona says in chat, I'm bricking it as a Chicharito owner. If Arnie is confirmed starting and Chicharito is on the bench by ex-West Ham employee, who, by the way, for anyone that doesn't know, ex-West Ham United employee on Twitter is in the know. He generally gets everything right. So he's gonna swap for a -4 Hernandez to Arnautovic if Arnautovic has been leaked to be confirmed as starting. Interesting.
Well, I mean, last game week around, Hernandez took that terrible dive and got booked for it. So maybe Pellegrini's kind of thinking, what are you doing? Don't be, if you're going to do a dive, do a proper swan dive, do a Ginola. And Arnautovic has been, just needs to get back in that team. He'll get goals for West Ham. I can't, see him not scoring if he starts.
G-Wiz in chat is going with a 2-0 win for the Hammers as well. So yeah, it looks like a lot of people are backing for a West Ham win.
Well, I'm pretty sure. I mean, Dan may even know this, but Pellegrini's actually come out and said that Arnautovic will start and play in his usual position. I'm pretty sure that's what he's actually come out and said. So, or words to the effect of. So I can't quite see all this panic over Arnautovic not starting. So then, everybody in chat, me, Dan and Jason, are now onto the game which everybody's talking about. It's Fulham at home to Liverpool. And again, obviously I'm being facetious, but everybody seems to think that Salah's going to come out of his shell and score 26 goals and people are going to triple captain him and they're all going to be #1 in the world and overtake Jason and John Harris and everything. It ain't going to happen. I'm sorry. Can I see Salah scoring in this game? Yes. But I'm telling you, Mane's form at the moment, this is what I find, and Dan knows a lot about this point of view, which is the one thing I detest about our thinking when it comes to fantasy football is the whole double guessing ourselves and kind of like, I think this will happen. Actually, no, I don't think. I think this will happen instead. So I better do this to counter it. But then if I do that, then I won't be able. And this whole debate about Salah being captain, Mane not, and if you've got them both, go with Salah because of the ownership. And don't get me wrong, I will hold my hands up. If I had Salah and Mane, I would sadly follow the crowd and go with Salah. But Mane's form, now admittedly, his away stats are pretty poor. He hasn't scored in the last 6, but he scored 2 last night. And I looked at my phone and I was like, his standard assist. And Mane has got to be the man. He's clearly loving life, playing basically through the centre. And, I'm predicting Fulham to lose. Well, obviously Fulham to lose. I'm going with 3 goals to Fulham. There seems to be, I'm just looking at the last 6 fixtures, a bit of a pattern. So, admittedly, this goes back to 2012, but Liverpool won 4-0. Then when it was at Fulham, it was 3-1 to Liverpool. Then at Anfield, it was 4-0. Then at Fulham, it was 3-2. So this year, like 4 years later, it ended up 2-0 to Liverpool. I mean, 2-0 to Liverpool, it's not that great when you think logically about how bad Fulham have been this year. Just 2-0 free flowing, and that was back in November when Liverpool were kind of at their peak. And at the moment, they're just going through the basic gears of just like, we'll just stay in first gear and just not really pull away and stuff. We'll get the 1 or 2 goals and just sit back. But I think the bigger question is about rotation. And we discussed it, didn't we, Dan, briefly? But we'll go into a bit more. We discussed it briefly on the last pod, but we can go into a bit more detail now. Do you feel, Dan, that Klopp will field a quote-unquote weakened team, i.e. resting Salah, Mane, bringing on players like you said, Sturridge, Origi, Shaqiri as an example? What are your thoughts on that?
I watched the Liverpool Bayern Munich game, and like you said, Mane at the moment is just full of confidence. At one point in the game, he took it around 3 players, nearly 4 players, and it was just like the first goal that he scored was fantastic. And like you say, he's loving life playing through the centre. But I got look. Don't all shoot me down as the messenger, so to speak. I'm not a messenger, but I've got a bad feeling that he is going to rotate a little bit. I just got this feeling that, let's be honest, they had the game against Bayern, which they dealt with Bayern really well. Brilliant victory into the next round. Game's coming fast and thick. I know they got Porto. It's a decent tie in a few weeks' time, but I reckon one of the two could be rotated. I've got a feeling that maybe, it could happen because Shaqiri's done well whenever he's come in. Origi's done all right when he's come in as well. So, but you can look at it two ways. I mean, they go at the end of the day. Liverpool are going for a Premier League title. They've never won the Premier League. They haven't won the league for over 25 years or whatever it is. So, is it really a time to be resting players? I mean, they're not in the FA Cup. I don't know. It's a tricky one. But my gut feeling is that one of those two players will be rested or possibly both start the game and then, 65 minutes get taken off for the last 25 minutes. But we will see what happens. But, yeah, I think Mane is a good choice. I'm going to go 3-1 to Liverpool. I reckon Ryan Babel's going to get a goal against his old team.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Players always do it.
Clement Leroux.
What do you think?
I'm just looking at
okay.
Just before you continue, Jason, I'm just looking at the last game, and Salah scored, Shaqiri scored. Who assisted them both? Alexander-Arnold and Robertson. So there's your Romans there. Mane did nothing. So yes. Sorry, Jason. The chat are going mad. Let's hear their thoughts. It's really interesting.
So Notorious Nerd saying Mane's on for a hat trick. Brett Mollison saying Klopp won't rotate now. The title is on the line. It's too risky. Clement Leroux is saying 2-1 win to Liverpool. This is football. Some days you are on top form, next week you're not. So Salah could come good and Mane could blank. It's football. Unpredictable. And I'm in agreement on you. Clement, obviously, we can't ignore necessarily the form of Mane in recent weeks, so he has been pretty much gold dust. So he also follows up by saying Milner in for Trent Alexander-Arnold, Marino in for Robertson, Shaqiri in for Mane or Salah. If that happens, there's going to be meltdown on various fantasy football sites. There'll be there'll be scenes, there'll be massacres going on. Jack Gleason says if Champions League was next week that they could rotate, but I'm surprised if he did, given they're behind on the league and obviously just want to catch up, not just on points but on goal difference. They're going to want to win more than 1 or 2-0. Very good point, Jack. I see there being a few goals in this game, and it's a Fulham defence that's not been really keeping many clean sheets and leaking goals. So against arguably one of the most second most attacking, the second best attacking team in the league. It's got goals written all over it, and I'm really hoping as a Salah owner that he makes all of the Salahs pay for their non-believing. And I must admit, if it wasn't for, and Steve-O is 100% right, if it wasn't for this blank game week, Salah would be gone. So FPL Boone, just to finish, FPL Boone is saying he's going to triple captain. He's thinking of triple captaining Salah, and Calwee saying don't do it. So there you go.
No, all I was going to add is watching that game during the week, there was one point when Salah, he just had the ball, like backing up what you were saying the other week, he took it past a player, and then Mane was there. You could have squared it to him, and he kind of divered, and then the Bayern player tackled him. And I was just watching it, and I was thinking that the Salah from last season would have slotted that over to Mane, or he'd have got a bit of pace and whipped it out. It just, there's a brilliant win for Liverpool. To win 3-1 at Bayern Munich is fantastic. But Salah just didn't, I don't know, he just seemed a bit sluggish and a bit selfish and a bit indecisive. But we do know that
he's desperately seeking
that Salah can explode. He can explode in the game, and he can hit a high ceiling. So that's the danger, really.
I think. Yeah, you're 100% right. I from watching him, it's almost like he's thinking too hard. Like Steve-O just said, he's trying too hard, and he's almost overthinking what he needs to do. Like if you watch the goals last season, a lot of his goals were lightning quick, almost instinctual. Whereas if you look over recent weeks, and I've watched a lot of the Liverpool games, when he has these chances, he's not taking a great touch. He's not looking at passes. He's not necessarily looking at where he's going to shoot, and he's just snatching at shots, fluffing his lines. And to me, it's almost like he's just like he's got pressure on himself, because obviously, let's be honest, anyone that did so well as he did last season, you know, I'm a great believer that he's probably highly critical of his own performances. So I just think it's affecting him, and when he's getting these opportunities, he's not just using his instinct. He's actually overthinking, and you know, he could have got like 5 or 6 assists over the last few game weeks if he had have just looked up and saw Mane or Firmino or anyone else other than Robertson, of course, because I don't own him, in the box. He could have been on for loads of assists. So yeah, it's one of those where I just think that once he starts to score a few goals that aren't from the penalty spot, then it wouldn't surprise me that we start to see him getting more calmer, more relaxed in these situations. But he does not look relaxed at the moment, and that's my worry because I'm going to probably captain him. I'm very, very confident I'm going to captain him. I do think that he's very much a flip of the coin at the moment in terms of what Mo Salah is going to come out onto that field. I'm going to go with Liverpool win. Going to go with 4-0 to Liverpool.
Oh. But it's going to be interesting from your rival in the Elite FPL mini league, John Harris, because he's going to. Well, I would like to think he's going to captain Mane, because he hasn't got Salah, and he was not berating, but he was mentioning the point to Dan: just get rid of Salah. It's a waste of time. But there's logic to having him for this blank game week. But here's a question for you: if Salah was to only get an assist, so Salah gets an assist versus Fulham, and Mane gets a goal, that's it. Just Salah assist, Mane gets a goal, and then, you know, a couple of other players that nobody owns does something. What's your thought process then on Salah? Just get him gone?
Yeah, I reckon get him gone, to be honest with you. I know there's the high ownership and everything else, but in terms of the value, there's value to be found in other players and midfield assets, you know, that are performing really well. And it's quite frustrating because it makes your team a little bit unbalanced, and that's what I've had to juggle over the last few game weeks of having him in. I don't know how Jason feels about it, but if he can't, Fulham for me have got worst defence in the league. If he can't get a minimum of a goal, then that to me is just not good enough. I don't know if Jason agrees with my strong thoughts.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a broken record now. It seems that every week I'm trying to justify the fact that I still own him and why I still own him. After saying all the time that he's just freeing up, you know, by getting rid of him, it frees up loads of money. But yeah, like I said, I've got him for the blank game week. Going to be all eyes on Salah this weekend on Sunday afternoon. It's going to be interesting because how many people do you think would have used their captaincy chip for this weekend by Sunday afternoon? I would. How many people? Well, no. Just how many captains do you think are going to be playing on Saturday? So you've got Vardy as a possible. I think people would, that are looking to chase, may captain Vardy, maybe even Wilson. Some Mavericks out there, or Nautovic. So, but I would say that probably less than, I don't know, going to be less than 10%. Less than 10% of fantasy managers going to captain. So Sunday's a biggie. And yeah, I guess the point I'm trying to get is, it's going to really, you watch. If Salah doesn't do anything against Fulham, then he's going to drop. He could drop twice, next week, especially because there's a break now, isn't there? After this week, so he could easily drop 0.2 before the next game week. After that, easily, if he doesn't do anything.
And just to add to this particular fixture, Fulham's home record isn't actually that bad. It's bad, but compared to their away record, so their away record is the worst in the league. They've won none, they've drawn 2, lost 14, scored 10, conceded 40. That's away from them. That's away. However, at home, yeah, they're still bad, but they've won 4, drawn 3, lost 7, scored 18, and only conceded 28. So, actually, their home record isn't too bad. Now, don't get me wrong, Liverpool's away form is, again, it's superb. So, the likelihood of Liverpool winning is about 95 to 100% certain. But from a battering point of view, I don't think it will happen.
I mean, when Fulham played Tottenham, and there's quite a few game weeks ago now, they played really well and they only lost 2-1. I know Spurs had a few players out at the time, but Harry Winks got an injury time winner. I think it was like the 93rd minute. So when I watched Fulham that day, I thought, actually, Fulham's all right. It's just defensively. And the players, at the start of the season, it was all the buzz about Schürrle, Sessegnon, and our mate Mitrovic that, you know, got us points early on, and it was all this buzz. But everyone forgot about the defence, you know, and they sacked Ranieri, and he's at Roma now. And, yeah, I don't know. But I think Liverpool should win comfortably, to be fair.
What are the chat?
Yeah. So Adam Humphreys is asking in chat, when I'm thinking of triple captaining Salah this week, when is the best time for a triple captainship? I can't see one. Salah at home to Huddersfield? Game week 36. I think Steve-O's thinking the same. If I still had mine, I'd be looking and waiting to see when the double Man City fixtures possibly going to be, and then use it on Sterling or Aguero. That's what I would personally do. I wouldn't use my triple captaincy chip this week. I don't think, even though it's Fulham, I just think that using it on a single fixture week is a bit of a way more of a risk.
And look at the kind of evidence in front of you. His form is poor.
Yeah.
He may. It's a very, very. We're talking like 1%, if that. There's a chance he could be rested. You know.
I think it all comes down to confidence. Are you confident that Salah's going to do something? And if you are confident, what has given you that confidence? Because if it's his potential. I mean, his potential is great. I mean, in terms of he's got the ability. We all know that Salah's got the ability to score goals. No one's going to argue about that. But his form has been abysmal. So it all depends. How confident are you that Salah's going to return a big haul? You need a double-figure haul to make your triple captaincy worthwhile. He's going to be highly picked, so you're not going to get the most out of your triple captaincy. Personally, I think I wouldn't be confident enough, and I wouldn't do it. Dan, what do you think?
I mean, here's a question possibly for chat. If you own Mane and Salah, who would you captain? Simple question. Going on to Salah, I mean, I wouldn't be triple captaining. You know, I feel like I'm tempting fate just saying that, but I'd be waiting for the double. That's what I'm doing personally, waiting for the double game weeks, like you say, Man City players, potentially Man United players on the fixtures they've got, like, you know, someone like Lukaku, as a bit of a differential captain, you know, to try and move up the mini league. But I don't know, Mane or Salah, it's tough because although Salah's on poor form, he's got the form in the previous fixture against Fulham, and I'm quite interested in the reverse fixture because that often tells you a lot about how a player's going to perform. You know, players have good record against certain teams. Like Aguero's got a good record against Tottenham, for example, and there must be a reason why that is. It's not, you know, partly psychological, and also the fact that he's up against defenders that, you know, he might have a bit of pace over them, certain attributes and things like that, so you can get really into it. But I don't know. Salah saying all this, Salah will probably like explode on Sunday. But there could be a bit of fatigue coming in as well. I mean, I know people kind of wash that away, but You know, they've had a lot of fixtures, tough games recently. In the game against Bayern, coming, you know, a tough game, and maybe that could come into play as well. You know, you've got to think of all these sports science type things as well. So, yeah, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be the talking point of the weekend. But wouldn't it be ironic if neither of them did much, and then, like, you know, Wilson got a hat trick, and Arnautovic got a, or, you know, just something silly like that. But it could happen.
Well,
it could be like a Wijnaldum to Firmino be the only goal or something, and everyone get really upset about it. But we've got Capkin Gaming in chat. So hello, Capkin, welcome, and thank you for joining another stream. We've got Adam Humphreys 99 in chat as well. He was the person that was asking the triple captaincy question. Hope we've kind of gave you our advice. That's all we do. We just give our advice. We don't try to tell people what to do. We've got Notorious Nerd. I don't know if I mentioned. We've got him in chat. And John Harris is in chat as well. So hello, John. The main man. So listen to what John has to say, because he's doing really, really well this season. So yeah, we'll move on to the next fixture, Steve-O, if you want to go ahead and introduce it.
The last final game week fixture, it's Everton at home to Chelsea. Ooh. And this is potentially the fixture where there could be quite a lot of differentials. Everybody's talking about Salah, Mane, Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Wilson, Arnautovic. So no one mentioned Hazard. No one's mentioned Higuain. No one's mentioning Sigurdsson. Okay, yeah, there are reasonings for that, but this just seems to be a fixture no one even seems to be mentioning. And for me personally, though, I think there's a reason for this. I just don't think it breathes any enthusiasm into any of us, because I think this is going to end in a drab 1-1. The last two fixtures have ended 0-0. Bizarrely, and this is the weird thing, is that Everton's home record this year has been that they've scored 21 goals and they've conceded 21 goals. But how about this? Chelsea have done exactly the same. They've scored 21 and conceded 21. There's something in my head that says to me, there's something going around in here that says to me that when Chelsea seem to play in the Europa League, the following fixture in the Premier League, they don't seem to do that great. Who did they just get? They drew with Wolves, didn't they, Dan? 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Just get Hazard getting the goal. And do you know what? I think, yeah, I'm going to go 1-1 in this fixture as well. They destroyed, was it Dynamo Kiev last night? 5-0 with a second string team. Maybe Olivier Giroud, maybe, you know, given a chance to start with Higuain being out with sickness. But I'm going to go 1-1, Dan. What do you think on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I said it might be tough last night in the Ukraine, but Chelsea battered Dynamo Kiev 5-0. And as you said, they rotated players, Hudson-Odoi playing, my mate Giroud playing as well. Excuse me. So I think I've just got this sneaky feeling that Chelsea are going to edge a win. I'm going to go a 1-0 victory to Chelsea, and maybe, you know, just sneak a win. I think it'll be a tight game. I think Everton are Marco Silva's more aware of being a bit more defensively sound now than earlier in the season, being a bit more tight at the back, particularly against Liverpool recently. Yeah, 1-0 to Chelsea, but I hope it's a draw.
Jason?
2-1 to Chelsea, and I'm going with a Higuain goal and a Hazard goal. And I don't own Hazard, and I've been thinking of owning Hazard, but I'm not making any other moves. Obviously, with game week 32 in my mind, I have other plans on the horizon. But I think if you own Hazard, I think this could be a game where he can get you a goal, and I'll be quite confident owning him. Higuain, on the other hand, yeah, I know he's not fully fit, is he? And he looked pretty lethargic last week. I don't know. Obviously missed the midweek game. I'm hoping he can get a goal in this fixture. And yeah, 2-1 to Chelsea.
So that beautifully links us into our team selections, transfers, captaincy choice ahead of this game week. Who wants to kick this off, Jason or Dan?
Well, Jason's in the he's in the pivotal position. So let's hear his thoughts. I might take his advice.
I ain't got a lot of options, to be honest with you. So
just to make people aware, if they're not, I mean, it'd be mad if they're not to. But so you're 88th in the world. You have 9 game week players for this particular. I'm mentioning Kika Firmino and Punch in there, so you've got 9 in total playing. So yeah, what are your thoughts transfer wise? You just said you're not really going to do any, so.
So you say I got 9, but I've got Punch in, so effectively that makes 8.1. Because I think that if Punchin does see the light of any turf, it will only be on for a few minutes. So I don't expect anything more than maybe 1 point maximum from Punchin. FPL Boone is heading off. Take care, FPL Boone. You look after yourself, man, and we'll speak to you over Twitter over the weekend and hope you score big, dude. Yeah, so starting in goal, got the big man Fabianski. I think he's going to be a popular pick this week. Huddersfield at home. Clean sheet potential with saves, possibly. You never know, as an added icing on the cake. For me, it'd be nice if it ends 0-0, and for me that game ends 0-0, and Fabianski gets 3 saves and gets some bonus points. That'll be perfect. Whether that would happen is very slim, but that'd be the ideal scenario for me. We've got Hamer in goal, or Hammer you like to call him, but he's only got 1 M, so I call him Hamer. And I don't think I'll be looking at swapping them out last minute. I think that would be a bad move. Got Alexander Arnold away at Fulham. I think that anyone that owns Robertson or Arnold are going to be confident in that game. I think Liverpool seem to attack very well with their fullbacks. They have done all season, so I'm hopefully owning the right-sided fullback this week as a non-Robertson owner. Every week it seems to be almost like when I see that Liverpool score a goal, I'm like nervous to find out who it is that got the assist. And I've got Pereira away at Burnley. I don't know. I didn't bring him in for his clean sheets. I brought him in for his attacking potential, his assist potential. So will Burnley get a goal? It's likely. They've been playing really well as of late. So I'm hoping he can nick maybe an assist or maybe even a goal. I'm not going to hold out too much hope, but he's playing. So I'm gonna, he's playing this week. So at least that's the bonus. Punching, I've already said about. Is a bit of a dead rubber. Salah he's got the armband at the moment away at Fulham. I've got to have confidence. If I've got him on my team, I've kept him on my team for a reason, and it's for this week. And I'm putting the armband on him. Mane, I'm hoping that I don't lose out too much for those people that decide to captain Mane as an owner of him. Let's just hope he doesn't explode and get 2 or 3 goals. And then that's all I'm fielding midfielder-wise. Going to be moved down to Higuain, who we talked about. Very 50-50 now, whether he's actually going to play a big feature in the game against Everton. I don't honestly know. I'm just holding out hope, and I'm hoping that my prediction of him getting a goal is true, because he is a differential. As you mentioned, Steve-O, owning Chelsea players is going to be considered differential, and there's people transferring in Giroud actually after his midweek hat-trick. Vardy is my vice captain. I just think that at the moment he seems to be playing really well under Brendan Rodgers, and after such a slow season for him, he's finally reaching form, and quite confident owning him, and I'm happy that I'm owning Vardy. It was a good transfer in last week, did me really well, and hoping he can get a few points again this week. We've got Rondon as my last starting game week player, he's again a player that's a bit hit and miss. I'm just hoping that he can do something away at Bournemouth, and Bournemouth not amazing at defending, so it could easily be a goals galore for both teams. 2-2 being a popular score prediction this week. So yeah, that's my team, and I can only show your teams from last week's points, so I can bring them up. But you can talk to me about your teams, guys, and we'll start with who should we start with? Which one of you guys want to go first?
I'll go first. It's fine. I've just been mulling over my team in my head. Yeah. So I think I've been thinking about this before we started the podcast. So I've been subconsciously building a team for this game week. Really, when I look at my my players that I've got, and I've brought in a player that's going to be playing in this particular game week. I don't think many people are going to be surprised. It's not going to take a lot of detective work to figure out which midfielder I brought in for game week 31. And I've got the treble up on Leicester City players. I really want to see some points from them. I mean, Vardy did very well last week, but Pereira, as I said about before, and it seems like a long time since Schmeichel's done something good for me. So that Leicester-Burnley game is going to be interesting. It's also going to be interesting because of my mate Westwood. Now, for those who watch the podcast on a regular basis, I've had Westwood on my bench pretty much most game weeks, and he just has this weird habit of delivering in games you don't expect. Away to Man United and away to Liverpool, getting returns, and you're just like, he's a 4.5 budget midfielder with the name of a former hip-hop DJ from Radio 1. That's the only reason I got
No. Every time I see Westwood's name, it reminds me of Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
Because it's Westwood Studios. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. But anyway.
Yes. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
So, no, I mean, but he's done well in these big games. So I'm going to play in this game week. So I've got quite a few players that are actually going to be playing in game week 31. It's just down to the captain pick between two Liverpool midfielders. There you go, giving it away pretty much. That's my dilemma. Hoping that TAA doesn't get benched for this game. I've got this horrible feeling he will. But he's been doing so well recently. There's no reason for him to be, but you never know what Klopp's thinking. And yeah, I mean, I've got, I could get in a West Ham defender because Huddersfield are so goal shy away from home this season, well, just in general. So I'm tempted to do that, but I'm going to have a little think about that after the podcast. But I'm quite happy with it. As I said before, and I think Steve-O agrees, I'm not expecting any massive, any massive point hauls on game week 31. Everyone's been talking about it and raving about it. I'm more psyched up for the double game weeks. That's when I'll be really, soaring for it. So let's just get it out of the way. But captain at the moment on Mane. Yeah, I'm going to captain Mane this game, mate. I've just decided that now. So I thought I'd say it on air, so I'm going to... You can hold me to it, people in the chat as well. So we'll see what I'm saying Sunday evening, though.
Current fastest risers at the moment, transfers in. Wilson, Vardy, Rondon, Nautovic,
Wilson,
Mane, Fraser, Fabianski, Hazard, Louise, even Declan Rice. Crazy. Steve-O.
Yeah. Well, as I've discussed several times regarding this particular game week, this is a complete nothing to me. I generally just don't. In fact, I was thinking of doing a solo podcast tomorrow, but I just thought, no, I'd rather go gym because I really have just no interest in this game week whatsoever. The games tomorrow do not inspire me whatsoever. They don't have players which... The only players off the top of my head that I'm thinking, oh, God, are basically your players, Jason, for obvious reasons. So someone like Vardy going mad, which I don't think he will do. I think he will score, but I don't think he's going to go mad. I think Stan jokingly said just then regarding how everybody's talking as if, like, every single blank game week player is going to get like double-digit haul. It doesn't work like that. We all know this. It's like the old classic thing of like, well, regarding professional bettors, gamblers, and people are like, oh, you tipped me this, but it didn't come through. And it's like, well, if it came through every single week, I'll be a millionaire. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It's the same fantasy football. It's exactly the same premise. It's a gamble. It's a bet. And yeah, we can all have these general ideas of who we think will probably do well. But this particular game week, I have no inspiration whatsoever. I only have 7 players for this particular game week. One of them being Tom Kearney. So like what Jason said with Puncheon, at least Kearney's going to start, and he's guaranteed to get me a standard 2 points, But yeah, I've got 7 players. Dan said it. I'm more interested in double game week 32 coming up. That's even before I found out about potentially Chelsea and City being jumped into that. Now, the downside for me on this game week is this. If I knew the fact that Chelsea and Man City had a double game week 32, I'd play my second transfer, so a free transfer to play 8 players, and I'd get rid of, I don't know, Lindelof and bring in David Luiz as an example. Because I feel that there's a more high chance of Chelsea keeping a clean sheet than gambling on potential attacking returns from, Bournemouth, West Ham or whoever. But yeah, I'm more concentrating on game week 32. As it stands right now, it's guaranteed Man U and Wolves. If we all assume City and Chelsea have that double game week, my plan's going to completely backfire. So, because I'm going to be definitely wildcarding that particular game week, but no matter what, I think that would be foolish to not wildcard on that, because I don't have a free hit. So that would be foolish for me not to wildcard on that particular game week to bring in, let's be honest here, triple City, triple United, and maybe a couple of Chelsea players or whatever. But it's very difficult. I've looked at mucking about with a wild card, having triple City, and it's impossible. It's very, very hard to have Aguero, Sterling, Pogba, Rashford, Hazard, etc. It's difficult. So there's going to be a lot of thought processing, but I keep forgetting that we've got quite literally a break from this. So a 2-week break. It's an international week. And I heard that Lukaku isn't playing against Wolves. He's injured or something.
Got a sore foot.
So the informed player that I was desperately wanting to bring in and possibly triple captaining him is let's be honest here, officially injured. He's out for the Wolves game. So hopefully he'll just get enough rest for the upcoming double game week. But yeah, I think I said last week that the game week just gone and game week 30 was make or break for me. I didn't actually drop that far. In fact, if I look at my game week history, after last week, I assumed I'd be dropping by thousands of places, but I dropped by 700 places, so nothing major. I did lose a lot of ground on you, Jason. I'm fully aware of that. But as I've already stated, I'm more preparing myself for being second in our league. So, I mean, looking at our Torbay Elite League, just briefly going over it, when you look at people like Darren Munday and Ben Towler and Connor Lee, when it comes to a setup ahead of this particular game week, I mean, Darren Monday's set up pretty well. He, at the moment, he's got 2 goalkeepers, as it stands. He's only got the 1 striker in Rondon. Then he's got Salah, who's going to captain, let's be honest here. Hazard. And then it's just defenders. David Luiz, Dina, Robertson, Alexander-Arnold. So that's Fabianski. So that's 5. So he's got 8 players at the moment. I don't see why he'd want to bring in any more unless he's desperate, of course. Moving on to, say, Ben Towler again. I look at his team and, yeah, you're looking at, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players. So he'd have to take a hit to get up to 8, obviously. He's made 1 game week transfer already this week, so that's for free. So he's up to 7 level on me, with a few differentials on me. And then, of course, Connor Lee is another potential rival here. Yeah, again, he's not particularly that well set up for this. So, in fact, Connor Lee looking at it, he only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players, 6, 7, but Schneiderlin ain't gonna play. Shah, I just realised Shah ain't gonna play. So he isn't gonna play either. So Connor Lee is already straight away kind of like on my terms with like 6, 7 players or so. So yeah, I'm kind of just dismissing this game week, Jason. I'm not really interested at all. I'd like to.
You've made a transfer, haven't you? Though.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, of course. I forgot about that.
And who was that transfer?
So I got to tell you. Yeah, I've done one transfer. I got rid of Son, I think. Yes, I got rid of Son. Can you guess who I brought in? It's pretty obvious who I brought in as a midfielder. A 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, or 1. Go. It's obvious. Most transferred in player, I think.
What, midfielder wise? Fraser?
Yes, yeah.
Well, he's the second most transferred in player.
He's second now, is he?
For midfield wise, I think he's the second most. Well, he's certainly on the FPL statistics website. Anyway, I've got here. He's so he's well behind Mane.
Does that make me ahead of the curve then?
No, you're right. No, you are right. No, Fraser is the most transferred in with 19,938. You are right. Fraser is the most transferred in. Well done.
Yeah, so I'm going with Fraser. I brought him in. I'm not particularly confident in the sense of I heard this statistic where whenever he scores, he blanks the following game week. Like I said, I'm not expecting much. I just thought I'd just get him in for money, really. I haven't made any money on him. I don't think he's going to be making me 0.1. But I just think what Dan said the other day and what I saw on Match of the Day, his link-up play with Wilson is clearly back on form. He's now partnering up with Wilson. Clearly a player he likes to play with. And I just thought, you know what? Just as a one-week punt, I'll bring you in.
I'm worried about that. I'm worried about that now because I do like Fraser. I've liked him. I do like Fraser, and I've got no Bournemouth attackers, I've got no Bournemouth players at all. But they just seem a different team with Wilson in it, and Fraser, like you said, he links up really well. And yeah, I got a lot of points earlier on in the season with Fraser, and obviously I don't own him now. So I did think about it. But I just don't want to mess my team up anymore between now and game week 32.
I'm seriously, after listening to my own thought processes, and I'm speaking out loud, I'm actually potentially tempted to get rid of Rashford and bring in Arnautovic, maybe, because I think that is a prime tie.
What about next? What are you gonna? What's your plan then for game week 32 then?
Because the logic would dictate that. Let's be honest here. That there's probably going to be a very high chance of Chelsea and City getting that double game week 32 within reason. Based on what this Ben Crellin has predicted, he believes that game 32 looks primed to be the perfect double game week. But that's the thing, you see, that's the difficulty that I'm in, is that I kind of want to get ahead of the curve against you by having 2 free transfers for game week 32.
Yeah, but by doing that, yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to be a complete waste if those 2 teams are announced and it's like, well, I should have spent that free transfer in game week 31 because I'm wildcarding anyway. This is more difficult than the Mane and Salah captaincy, so to speak, for me. So yeah. That would obviously instead. So because you were originally planning to wildcard what game week 34? Yeah, it would have been later down the line. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's my plan. But interesting. It is going to be interesting because it's going to really screw people's plans up, having those double game week, those fixtures put in game week 32, because like yourself, it seems that you've kind of like patiently just built your team to kind of suffer for game week 31 and then to be really, really well versed for game week 32, and now it's kind of your plans are kind of being almost potentially ripped up by these teams, featuring in Game 32.
I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's just a fact. So the points that are going to be coming from Bournemouth from an attacking point of view are going to be either King, Brooks, Fraser or Wilson. It's a fact. Yeah, there may be the odd player random, but the main point sources from attack points of view are those four. From Newcastle, it could be literally from anybody. You're talking Perez, Rondon, Ricky, Almiron, Selby if he's ever playing, Lascelles, and just such random teams. Burnley, again, within reason, you've got the same points coming from Barnes, Woods, or Dan's player Westwood. Leicester, you're talking Vardy, Maddison, Telemons, who we picked for our free hit chip, and that's about it off the top of my head, give or take, the main points returners. West Ham, you're looking at Arnautovic only. Within reason, but you've got Arnautovic, Felipe Anderson, and at a push, Snodgrass, give or take. So that's just three. Huddersfield, just forget about it. Fulham, just forget about it. Liverpool,
punching.
We all know who that is. Everton are completely all over the place within reason, apart from maybe Richarlison and Sigurdsson. But when we looked at the statistics, Dan, they weren't that regular at the moment. And then Chelsea, of course, is basically just Hazard or David Luiz or Azpilicueta. That's it. So really, the pool of players to be choosing from, it's not that particularly great. And like I said, these players don't breathe confidence in me to suggest, oh my God, I'm not happy not to own them, apart from Vardy and... I think I may do that. I think I may do the Arnautovic move.
Go on then. Join the legion of disappointed Arnautovic owners. Go on, do it. Go on.
I'm gonna agree.
Do it. You said you're gonna do it. Do it. Come
on. Let's hear some thoughts from Dan. Let's hear what the chat says about that potential move. That move would be Rashford out for Arnautovic. That's what I'd be doing.
John Harris said good move.
Sorry, my apologies. It would probably be Aguero out because it may be Aguero out. But go on, Dan. Did you have any thoughts before we conclude all this?
No, I was just going to, for a bit of fun, for a prediction, Wolves, Man United, put that to the chat, see what people think that will be. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Wolves. What do you guys think?
Of course you are, Dan.
Got to get that in, even though they're not playing in FPL this week.
Is it at Old Trafford?
No, it's at Wolverhampton's ground, Molineux.
Oh, is it?
On BBC One, other channels are available, but it's nice to have a game on terrestrial TV.
Other channels are available, but they won't be showing the match.
Other sports channels are available. Give me a prediction. Stop being facetious.
I think I agree with you, Dan. It's tough. But Wolves do seem to like these top teams, and I can see it being maybe a draw. United edge. I would say it's a bit like with your game. I think there's quite a high chance of more United winning because of their form. But draw / more in favour of a United win, probably.
Should be a good match.
Unbelievable. We lose one game, and all of a sudden we're going to get beaten by Wolves. No. We lose one game that we should have won.
And you have been getting points left, right, and centre from Jimenez, Doherty, and all those, guys. So, what's your prediction, Jay?
My prediction is that United will win, of course, and quite comfortably. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to United.
Wow. Because Wolves are taking the cup. Well, I mean, all teams should take it seriously at this stage, but it will be nice to watch a game this weekend and not worry about FPL. Just, sort of, unless you've got players and you don't want to get injured. But be nice to watch a game and not worry about points. Just relax and enjoy. Hopefully a Wolves victory. But no, it'll be. I reckon it'll be quite a tight game. Actually, to be fair, it could edge either way. But like I say, Wolves are quite good against the top six. But going back to this particular game week, I know what you mean. I got this strange feeling that somebody random like Tillemans or Perez is going to Tillemans, whatever his name is going to explode. I didn't realise you're still annoyed about our prediction, aren't you? But no, they're going to like Perez or Tillemans is going to get 2 or 3 goals or something. You know, I think it's going to be whatever. But yeah, one of those guys is going to do something. So
no, could easily be. I mean, it's that game week, isn't it? It's a game week of, pretty mediocre fixtures where, like you just said, any Tom, Dick or Harry could come out being the hero.
What the chat said before we conclude.
Yeah. So Ray Joyce is saying do it, bring Arnie in. Brett Mollison saying I'm my first hits for ages, but over a few players. A lot of people taking hits this week, so I don't think it's going to hurt you too much. Clement LaRue saying no way, Steve-O, don't do it. And then John Harris is saying join us, Steve-O. Become a despondent Arnautovic owner. Go on. You've been harking on about Salah's form of late. What about Arnautovic's form of late? Even with the minutes that he has been afforded, he's been pretty crap. Let's be honest. Barnes double, Notorious Nerd says. If you want to be random, try Mitrovic versus Liverpool. Yeah, I mean. He could do that. That would be really outside of the box. And if I wake up and tomorrow, I would say wake up, but I'll be well awake before the deadline. But if I see that he's done that move, Mitrovic, and my eyes would be like, I'd wake up again. If Ashley Barnes looked different or had a different name, his ownership would be huge.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, but he's still young. He's still developing, and
nationality is Ashley Barnes?
Huh?
What nationality is he? I don't know.
Ashley Barnes?
He's Austrian. He's got an Austrian grandmother.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
I don't know
He's
who put it on.
No, he's English, but because he's got a grandma that's from Austria.
He's English Austrian.
Austria, so he plays for Austria.
He's not young, is he? He's 29 years old.
No, he's not young. No.
What? He's not English. He's not young.
No, he's English. He's English Austrian and 29, so he's not young, but he's in his prime. So yeah, forget that. I don't know too much about Ashley Barnes, to be fair. I don't know too much about him.
He's a scrapper, as Ashley Barnes. He likes to.
He strikes me as a championship player. Sorry, he just strikes me.
Yeah, he's been around Bournemouth, Brighton. But obviously he's a lower league player. So,
he'll be in the championship next year.
Yeah. That's true.
So he will be.
Doing well. So
yeah, anything else in the chat? Let's have a look. Fraser is flagged 75% since when? I don't think you need to worry about that, Brett. I don't think it's a biggie. I don't know what's the latest on Fraser. Anyone know?
It's the same old. It's Eddie Howe said he's going to be fine for the particular game week.
Cool. Okay. Well, that's pretty much it for this week's end of week podcast for Game Week 31. You got anything else you want to close up with, Dan?
I'm going to say one last prediction because I might probably just end up having a bet this weekend. I'm going to go Crystal Palace to beat Brighton 3-1 for the cup game. But yeah, if you joined us in the chat and you're watching this on the replay, thanks for taking this time out.
They're playing Watford, aren't they?
Podcast. Yes, that's what I just said. Yeah.
Subscribe. Have a great game week, and look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hello there, welcome to our Elite FPL.
Yeah. Pun where Shaw's lights were knocked out. Dan, you may want to turn on your light because you're.
Chat said that Steve, if you bench Alonso and he returns, you have to get a history tattoo.
Well, people in chat saying, Jack, before we move on to the elite FPL.
First of all, my name isn't Jack. Right, okay, I'm gonna let Dan speak because it seems to be mainly me. And go, Dan. Go ahead. What are you gonna do?
No, it's absolutely fascinating.
Jason, try and just stop.
Right. Okay. Right.